Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, let us see and learn how to enable a model in Bedrock and how to access the enabled model by using Lambda function code. That we're gonna learn in this video. By using this Bedrock, we're gonna enable a ML model access, and by using the model ID, we're gonna access that model in Lambda function. That we're gonna see in this lab. First, I want to enable any Bedrock model. So that's why I'm searching for Bedrock and I'm opening that Bedrock service. In that Bedrock service, I can able to enable accessing of any available model in it. So let's get started. Now, if you see, yeah, it's directly welcoming to Bedrock and it will ask you to manage your model access. Directly, it will ask you here, or else if you close it, that option is also visible here under Bedrock configuration. This model access is the configuration where you can able to enable access to specific model. Let's say I want to enable access to particular Titan, this model, that is a Titan X1 Premier model. I want to access this ML model. So for that, you just need to click on enable specific model and you need to enable that particular model that you want to access, and just scroll it up and just click on next. You can see here the options that you configure. That is a model you want to modify, model access that you want to modify. This is the model access that I want to modify because I want to access this model. Now I'm just submitting this request access. Now immediately you can able to identify that that model access is granted. Now you can able to access this particular model. So in order to access this model, how can you able to access this model, sir? In order to access this model, you have model ID. Now you can see that model ID is visible under this foundational models, base models. I'm just scrolling up to there, that model. You can see this is that model that we enabled. Other than this model, everything is pop-upping a message that is this account does not have currently access to this model. Request access in model access. So before accessing any model, you need to request for accessing that model in this model access. We have already requested for this model and we got the access for this model. Now I'm copying this model ID. By using this model ID only, we are accessing this model in a Lambda function. For that, I'm opening already created one Lambda function. Now you can see this is the invoke Bedrock Lambda function that I have previously created, and this I want to use in order to access my model, that ML model that I have previously created. So for that, you need to write the code here. So before writing the code, you need to provide this Lambda function the permission. You need to provide the permission for this Lambda function in order to access the Bedrock. For those permissions, I have already configured for the IAM role. While creating this, you can check the configurations under this configurations tab under environment variables, or you can see under permissions, you can able to see the IAM role that you have already attached to it, and the resources and the actions that you are allowed, those are all visible here. Okay, now let us open this IAM role that I've attached to it and check with the permissions whether in those permissions do I allow to access the Bedrock related model or not. For that, I'm opening the attached IAM role. Now you can see under permission policies, so it's reloading. Now that IAM role is having AWS Lambda role execution, AWS Lambda execute, as well as a basic execution role policies are already attached, and a inline customer inline policy also attached. If you observe this customer inline policy, then here in order to access SageMaker endpoints, I have provided the configuration, and to add logs, I have provided the action, and to update the Lambda function also I have provided the user permission for this. You can see you can able to access Lambda SageMaker endpoints as well. Here, if you see the logs related permissions also there. Then if you clearly observe this, then you can able to this IAM role is also having Bedrock related permissions, that is getting permissions. By using this, you can able to get the models as well. And invoke permissions also there, list permissions also there. So by using the Lambda function, you can able to list whatever the models that you have and invoke the models and get the model related response as well. And you can able to list S3 related buckets as well, S3 related data as well. And you can able to use CloudFront related permissions also there. Now for this lab, these permissions are enough for me. Those are already attached to it, and effect you can see that is allowed. These actions are allowed. Now, yeah, since I attached this IAM role to this Lambda function, I can able to perform, that is access that model ID and able to get the response from that model ID from Bedrock by writing some code here. So in order to access the data from Bedrock, you need to know one function, that is invoke Lambda function. By using Bedrock runtime, you can able to use the invoke Lambda function in order to invoke any model ID with some body of input text. So that we're gonna see right now. So let's first write the function, or you can say the main part, that is a response. Let's say I want the response. So from where I'll get the response? So in order to get the response, you will need a Bedrock runtime. You will need a Bedrock runtime. So this is just a parameter. This is just a variable that you are going to create for Bedrock runtime. I will going to create in the next step after explaining this. And after creating the Bedrock runtime, you need to invoke. You need to write the method, that is invoke model. In order to invoke the model, you need to write this method, that is invoke model method. Then here you need to provide the model related ID. So what is the model ID? That is we previously copied. Yeah. Let's copy it again. I'm just copying it again. Now I'm pasting that here. Yeah, this is the model ID. Then you need to provide the body as well. What is that? Body as well. Body is nothing but the question that you want to send to this model. So that you need to send in the form of JSON. So that's why you have imported this JSON.dumps. JSON.dumps of. Here you need to provide some data in the form of dictionary format. Now you can see in this format you need to provide the content. In this flavor braces format you need to provide the content. Here I am providing the content, that is input text. Whatever the query that I'm providing in this input text and colon. So what is my question? Let's ask, what is Lambda function in AWS? What is Lambda function in AWS? We clearly asking this as the question. Now we'll get the response, right? Yeah. So before getting the response, we need this variable. So how to get this variable? In order to get this variable, this Bedrock runtime, we'll create this Bedrock runtime from Boto3, library, Boto3 dot client of Bedrock. What is that? Bedrock runtime. Bedrock runtime. Comma, you need to provide the region as well. So from which region you are accessing this model, that region also you need to provide. My region name is currently US East I'm using. US East 1 I'm using. My model is present there. Now, in order to get this Boto3, we need to import this Boto3 library as well. Import Boto3. Okay. Actually, this is the code. If you observe, in order to get the response, this is the code. That is Bedrock runtime.invoke model of model ID that you need to provide, and body you need to provide in dictionary format. And yeah, that's it. You will get the response. So in order to use this Bedrock runtime variable, you need to create Bedrock runtime. You need to connect as a client to this Bedrock runtime within the same region where your model is present. Now I want to return this response. I want to print this response as a result. So for that, I'm defining one more variable, that is a result. And in this, I'm storing the response. I'm storing the response body. I'm storing the response body, and I'm using the read function in order to read the content. And finally, I'm converting this whole data into string to display this, or you can say to return this as a JSON response. To return this as a JSON response, I converted this response into string, and I am returning this here. Now I'm just deploying or saving the changes. And then now I'm running this test. So whenever I run this test, this whole code work, and whatever the input text message or question that we provided, for that we get the response back from this model. Now let's test this and check. So while testing, you need to provide some event name. Yeah, that's it. I'm just saving this event, some random event. I'm testing it. Currently, we are not depending on event. We have written the code and we provided the question as well. You can see we get the response. That is, we get the output text. What is that? AWS Lambda is a serverless computing service provided by Amazon Web Services, that is AWS. And you get the respective answer, right? Yeah, you get the respective answer. So from this, can we say we have accessed a model by using the model ID? Yes. From Lambda function, do we access the model? Yes. Do we question the model or do we prompt the model? Yes. So let's ask, what is Bedrock in AWS? Let's have this question. I'm just deploying the changes because I made some changes. I deployed the changes or saved the changes that I have made in this code. And let's test it again. After successfully updated, I'm just testing it again. Now, what's my question? What is Bedrock? I think it's taking Beanstalk like a question. So let's provide the question correctly. BAD. So like that, I think we did the wrong mistake of spelling. So that's why that related response we got. Now I'm again deploying or saving the changes. What is Bedrock in AWS? Now I'm just testing the model again. In this way, actually, you can able to use your model in Lambda function as well. You can able to enable your model. You can see you got the response. Bedrock is a managed infrastructure offering from AWS that provides you fully automated and secure foundations for deploying and managing your cloud applications. So that's about a Bedrock. Yeah. So in this way, you can able to use your Bedrock model in your Lambda function in real time. In real time, you actually use your Lambda function in order to get the response from Bedrock model. But in real time, you might include some more parameters. What are the parameters, sir? Let's say you are invoking this Lambda function by using API gateway. Then you must need to include two more parameters. Apart from this model ID and body, you need to include two more parameters. That is content type. Content type you need to include. That is application / JSON content I want to include. And what is the acceptable content? That also you need to include. That is the content is also acceptable is application / JSON. So like that, in real time, what type of request that you want to allow and what type of responses that you want to return, those also you need to configure. And most importantly, I'm saving the changes. Most importantly, in real time, whenever you are triggering your Lambda function, from API gateway, then you must need to consider this configuration. If you forgot to write these configurations, might you will encounter some errors. I'm just testing it again. So might you may receive like this mistakes as well. Then you need to rectify those. Let's see what the mistake is. You can see perhaps forgot a comma. We forgotten the comma, I think. So let's open the code. Yeah, here if you observe, so after this body we need to provide comma here. So this is the whole body, and after this body we need to provide comma, and now I'm saving the changes and I'm testing it again. In this way, in real time also, you need to identify the errors or mistakes and you need to rectify your code. So might some more changes are required. I think you can see the first line, that is parameter validation failed. That is this canon type. I think yeah, this is the parameter, that is a content type. We mistype and or we mistakenly written the syntax wrongly, I think. While explaining we have explained correctly, but while writing might mistakes will happen. Okay, you just save the changes, and again after changes got saved successfully, you again test it. Okay, yeah, you can see you got the response back. So like this, in real time you need to modify the code as well based on your requirement. So this is the way where you can able to access enabling model, or you can able to enable the access of particular ML model in your Bedrock, and this is the way where you can able to access that particular model by using model ID in Lambda function as well, and perform some compute as well in Lambda function. I hope you understood this video and you understood this hands-on of connecting or accessing your ML model from Bedrock through Lambda function. I hope this video is useful. If you feel this video is useful, then please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. Thanks for watching again. See you back in the next video and with another interesting topic. Until then, bye bye, guys.